just said after I said that, a Gesundheit.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are going through Torah study with Rashi. We're going through the Torah portion today, Vayishlach, which has a lot to say, or at least Rashi does. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. So we'll get started with it here in a second. The announcement that I said or mentioned last week is that it looks promising that we will have a place to meet of our own. Yay, yay. It is very promising. We got to go through some hurdles at this moment in time, but it's looking good. It's looking good. So, Shabbat Shalom, Roni. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddush shanu b'mitzvotav v'tzavanu la'asok divrei Torah. All right. As we normally do, we are going to start with the English translation from the Complete Jewish Bible, and then we'll go through the translation from the Art Scroll with Rashi. All right. We are Genesis or Bereshit, chapter 32, starting at verse 3 or 4, depending on your translation. Okay, here we go.
Speaking of translation, quick question.
Yes.
So when you say we're using the Art Scroll translation, would that be what Rashi used? Are we talking something that's 500-600 years old?
No.
Okay, so it's just a different current translation.
It's you would say, yeah, it's a different current translation, okay. But this translation that's in the book from Art Scroll about Rashi is how Rashi, to the best of the translator's ability, how Rashi thought of it. She thought it should say in English, right? The Hebrew is the same. Yeah. So, yeah, it gets kind of tricky. And in this particular story or parsha that we're going to go through, so we're going to just finish off chapter 32 today. We're not even going to go into 33 because 32 is where Yaakov wrestles something, right? And so there's differences in translational opinions on this, and you're going to find this out here, and we're talking about this in the English. Okay, all right, very good. Yaakov sent messengers ahead of him to Esau, his brother, toward the land of Seir, the country of Edom, with these instructions. Here's what you are to say to my lord Esau. You are Yaakov, your servant Yaakov says, I have been living with Lavan and have stayed until now. I have cattle, donkeys, flocks, and male and female servants. I am sending to tell this news to my lord in order to win your favor. The messengers returned to Yaakov saying, we went to your brother Esau, and he is coming to meet you, and with him are 400 men. Okay. Yaakov became greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people, flocks, cattle, and camels with him into two camps, saying, if Esau comes to one camp and attacks it, at least the camp that is left will escape. Then Yaakov said, God of my father Abraham, God of my father Yitzhak, Adonai, you told me, return to your country and your kinsmen, and I will do you good. I'm not worthy of all the love and faithfulness you have shown your servant, since I crossed the Jordan with only my staff. But now I have become two camps. Please rescue me from my brother Esau. I'm afraid of him, and afraid he'll come and attack me with regard for mothers, attack me without regard for mothers or children. Thank you. You said, I will certainly do you good and make your descendants as numerous as the grains of sand by the sea, which are so many that they can't be counted. He stayed there that night. Then he chose from among his possessions the following as a present for Esau, his brother: 200 female goats, 20 males, 200 female sheep and 20 males, 30 milk camels and their colts, 40 cows and their 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 colts. He turned them over to the servants every drove by itself, and said to his servants, cross over in front of me and keep a space between each drove and the next one. He instructed the servant in front, when Esau, my brother, meets you and asks you, whose servant are you? Where are you going? And whose animals are these? Then you are to say, they belong to your servant Yaakov, and they are a present he has sent to my lord Esau, and Yaakov himself is just behind us. He also instructed the second servant and third, and all that followed the droves. When you encounter Esau, you are to speak to him in the same way. You are to add, and there, just behind us, is your servant Yaakov. For he said, I will appease him first with the present that goes ahead of me. Then after that, I will see him myself, and maybe he'll be friendly toward me. So the present crossed over ahead of him, and he himself stayed that night in the camp. I know I'm doing a lot of reading. I'm just finishing this chapter. He got up that night, took his 2 wives, his 2 slave girls, and his 11 children, and forded the Yabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream, then sent his possessions across, and Yaakov was left alone. Then some man wrestled with him until daybreak. When he saw that he did not defeat Yaakov, he struck Yaakov's hip socket, so that his hip was dislocated while wrestling with him. The man said, let me go, because it's daybreak. Yaakov replied, I won't let you go unless you bless me. The man asked, what is your name? And he answered, Yaakov. Then the man said, from now on you will no longer be Yaakov, but Israel, because you have shown your strength to both God and men and have prevailed. Yaakov asked him, please tell me your name. But he answered, why are you asking me about my name? And blessed him there. Yaakov called the place Peniel, which is the face of God, because I have seen God face to face, and yet my life is spared. And the sun rose upon him. He went on past Peniel, limping at the hip. This is why to this day the people of Israel do not eat the thigh muscle that passes along the hip socket, because the man struck Yaakov's hip at its socket. Wow, okay, so that was a lot. I had to do a lot of reading. So, yeah, okay, so there's a lot here. So let's go ahead and go back. Let's see what Rashi says. I'm kind of thinking to myself what to do with it. Okay, so now Rashi. All right. Now, first and foremost, about this story, we've heard, we've heard many things about this story, right? Who is the man? Who is this? And who is that? Rashi has an opinion, and we're going to see what his opinion is. Does that mean it's the only opinion? No, it does not mean it's the only opinion, right? So, and I'm glad we're all trying to get this in our mind, myself included, because I know those out there would like to say this is it. It was this person, that's it, that's the only thing, and that's not necessarily true, right? Okay.
The first three words,
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that could be angels.
Ah, very good. Well, since you mentioned that.
Yeah, I've heard angels and I've heard God himself, so.
Yeah, you've heard that?
Yeah, the main
I always
one,
just
I
assumed it was just someone.
Yeah.
From the Gentile
Can you
perspective, that's why.
give that to Slade Henson for me? Slade, good Shabbos, my friend.
Hello, what's this for?
I am miking you
Why?
in case I need to ask you a question so everybody on here can hear your answers.
I'm sorry about that.
So go ahead if you don't mind, put it on your shirt. All right, yes, I am miking Slade Henson, so if you hear a voice in the background, that's him, because he might have some interesting things to say during this particular lesson. We'll see what he says.
Or I could just wait for the drosh.
Or you could just wait for the drosh, but they're here now. All right. So now, Rashi. Here we go. And this is where the English starts to have some faults in it. or maybe not, but as far as like English being a more, what would you say, precise language versus Hebrew, which is precise but in a different way. So, okay, here we go. And Jacob sent angels. This is what the translation, English translation says in the art scroll of Rashi. Okay, so, and Jacob sent angels before him to Esau, his brother, to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. Now, when you look at the field of Edom, right, it's also, in the other English translation, it's the country of Edom. Wonderful English and Hebrew. So here's the thing. What Rashi says in Jacob sent angels, Rashi says literally it was angels. Now, why would he say that?
The term angels is messenger.
The term angels is messenger, malachim. If you look at the Hebrew, that's what it says.
Not everybody can send angels.
And not everybody can send angels. That's correct.
Status.
His status does indicate that he could send angels. Okay. So,
And doesn't it have to do something with the ladder?
Are we
Like
talking,
extreme?
are we talking about verse 6 or a different verse?
we're talking about verse 4.
Or verse 4?
Yeah, we're still in the first verse of the parsha. So here is the question that we're gonna. Well, let me go further. No, actually, no. When I'm getting my thoughts right, so I can teach this correctly. The reason why he says angels is not just because of the word itself. There is indication that it could be literally angels, according to Rashi. And that is from last Parsha. If you go to the end of last Parsha, verse 30, chapter 32, same chapter we're in. If you go to verse 2, Jacob went on his way and angels of God encountered him. So in context of Torah, the proximity, they're only a couple verses, a couple lines apart, that Rashi says here, well, it just stands to reason. If they're talking about angels then, he's talking about angels now.
Well, it's the same word, in English or in Hebrew, it's the same word, but in English, but angels on one sentence and messengers on the next.
Right. So that's where,
So we can be confused.
so we can be confused, right? We're just here to muddy the waters here. No. Right, and it does add confusion because if it's the same Hebrew word, but yet two different English words, right? And then the translators are trying to figure out what does he mean. Did Yaakov really send angels? Some would say no. He sent messengers, human messengers ahead to Esau. What Rashi says is no, he actually sent angels. Okay. So there you go. It's like, you confused yet? Oh, we're just getting started. Okay. So this means,
It would certainly give his brother
Okay.
pause.
Right, I
Yeah.
read that he's got 400 men.
yes,
If he meant Yaakov ill,
yes,
this
I'd
would
reconsider.
it would be reconsider.
to reconsider, and then all the gifts would just emphasize.
Yeah, it's all the gifts would be icing on the cake. Here are my two malachim that I'm sending. Yeah, interesting. All right, so we're going to verse 5. Rashi says, I have sojourned. And so he said, use the word sojourned here to indicate something. Right? When we sojourn, what do we do when we sojourn? What is it? What's the idea? It's a temporary thing.
Like you're,
Right? Traveling?
resting somewhere.
Okay, good. I did not become, this is Rashi says about, I have sojourned. I did not become a dignitary or a notable, but a mere sojourner. It does not benefit you to hate me, right? This is Yaakov talking to Esau according to Rashi, okay? It does not befit you to hate me over the blessing of your father who blessed me. And he said, and he quoted, be a lord to your brothers. For it has not been fulfilled in me. As if right now he's saying, I am nobody special, yeah. Except for somebody who sends angels, yes.
I'm that guy.
Yes, that, okay.
Sometimes they look like real people too. So you don't always know you're what they look
Right.
like.
Yeah, it's these angels probably look more human.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like the Abraham's visitors.
It's just like Abraham's visitors. Okay. So alternatively, Devar hair. So this is a different viewpoint, right? And now we're going to get into something funky, and that for some people like it, but if you don't understand it, it's weird. The numerical number of the Hebrew word, which is Gimel Resh Tav Yod, is 613.
The mixed coat.
As if to say, I sojourned with Laban, the evil one, and yet I kept the 613 commandments and did not learn from his evil actions. Okay? All right. Verse 6, I have acquired ox and donkey. So Father said to me, from the dew of the heavens and from the fatness of the land. That is from Genesis 27:28. This cattle and slaves is neither from the heavens nor from the land, and it does not grow from the ground. That's from Tanhuma, Yeshan 5. Okay, so ox and donkey. It is the way of the world to say, with reference to many oxen, ox. Right, so he's now just talking more of a linguistic, grammatical thing right now. Okay. So he's talking about, it says ox, but it's actually meaning plural, or plurality, oxen. Okay, all right. So when
He
he's
doesn't have just one ox and
You're
one
right.
donkey.
Yeah, not just one ox and not just one donkey, right? So when he's talking about ox and donkey, it's actually plural. And he goes an example and says this, a man says to his friend at night, the rooster cried. He does not say the roosters cried. Okay. All right. And I am sending to tell my Lord. This is to inform you that I am coming to you. This is Yaakov saying, I am coming to you, Esau. I'm going to find favor in your eyes, that I am well disposed toward you and seek your love. Right? He's looking for reconciliation.
Yeah.
Okay. And so verse 7, so this is the angels returned, and this is the actual, in the art scroll here, this is the actual translation. The angels returned to Jacob. Okay. And they said, we came to your brother Esau. Rashi says, for you would say, he is my brother, but he acts toward you like Esau, the evil one. He's still in his hatred. So what are the angels saying here?
He's saying that Esau's still angry.
Esau's still angry, still upset. Even after the visitation from the angels, Tammy. Okay. All right, in verse 8, and Jacob became frightened and distressed. So the question is, wouldn't you be distressed if you're frightened? Why would he say frightened and distressed? It seems like it would be superfluous, is the words that has been,
Well,
that
you can be afraid and bold and courageous and like try to mask the fear.
The
I think the distress is, at least my interpretation would be that the distress is more of the action of the fear being internal and the distress being external, possibly.
Right. Right. And just as a side note, the Rebbetzin did say that, Rashi didn't know English, so he spoke. What language did he speak other than Hebrew? He spoke French. He lived in France.
But we won't hold that against him.
All right. So frightened and distressed, as Sean was saying, there's differences in the word. So Rashi says here, he became frightened lest he be killed. Right? That did make sense. And it distressed him because he didn't want to kill others. So there's a kind of, he's frightened because he would be killed, and distressed because if there's a fight that he would be killing others.
More like, almost like a regret or shame is probably what how.
Something like that. Yeah.
Or that he's gonna have to hurt others. So,
Something he's never done, right?
but even then, it's more of a moral issue as well, I would say too, is probably.
He doesn't want to kill anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
But even then, I still think that, of course, but I think that's where you have.
It might be distressing because God has clearly told him to do this,
okay.
but he doesn't he doesn't see what the outcome's gonna be.
Right.
So it's like, am I doing what God wants me to do when Esau's coming at me with 400 men? You know,
Is this really God?
yeah, is this really
Right.
God? This is a kind of a conflict here.
Am I following Hashem the appropriate way? And because it's pretty crazy what's happening.
There's something here.
Yeah. Am I sure I'm in the right on
Are we
this?
truly obeying God?
Yeah. That's a good point. Verse 9. So when we're talking about verse 9, in Yaakov says, if Esau comes to strike the one camp and comes to the one camp and strikes it, then the remaining camp shall be a refuge. Okay. So this is Yaakov splitting the camps. The one camp and strikes it. So this is where Rashi goes into grammatical language, and it's a big paragraph, and all he's trying to say here, without trying to explain what he just said, which would take a while to explain, is that they're both feminine and masculine nouns in this phrase. I could read what he said, and I'd just confuse you. And as far as like this Torah study, you know, I am not a Hebrew fluent enough to teach the grammatical intricacies that he is teaching.